Part 1. A Strange Murder. 1982, Springfield, Illinois. That evening, residents of one apartment building heard piercing screams in the hallway. "Help! He's been killed!" Many tenants rushed out of their apartments and saw a strange sight. A naked, wet girl was running through the hallway. It was Emily from the fourth floor. One of the tenants boldly headed to the neighbor's apartment, but quickly came back out, barely holding back vomit, and said, "Call the police!" The investigative team arrived at the scene urgently. The apartment inspection revealed several oddities. Emily's husband had been killed with multiple kitchen knife wounds, yet the lock wasn't broken and no valuables were missing. The detectives immediately dubbed this murder strange.
Deputy Mackenzie was one of the first at the brutal crime scene. The apartment owner, Nicholas Arrington, was found in the kitchen. Experts counted 16 stab wounds on his body. The bloody footprints on the floor showed the man had run, trying to escape, with the first blows struck in the bedroom. But what happened here? The only witness was the victim's wife, Emily. Emily told what happened. It was a romantic evening, tenderness, passion, and sweet words. Then Emmy decided to take a bath, turned on the faucet, and settled in with a book. The sound of water was soothing, but suddenly the front door slammed. It seemed strange to Emily since her husband Nicholas was about to go to sleep. When she came out of the bathroom, she saw the bloodied body. Forensic experts tried to find traces of the killer, but failed. Neighbors also heard and saw nothing. The detectives conducted a thorough door-to-door canvass, hoping to gather information about the victim. But all neighbors said the same. Nicholas was a great guy, and they noticed nothing unusual about him. Maybe the victim fought with his wife, but no results there either. Only one neighbor gave the detectives a puzzle. The neighbor said the Arringtons were quite a passionate couple. Before, the moans from their sexual pleasures woke him only at night, but lately the noise came during the day, always on Thursdays. One detective took interest in this information and went to the widow, Emily. She said they rarely saw each other. She studies at law school, then stays at the library. Her husband did his own work. He was an artist and photographer. But who was making noise in the apartment then? Did the husband have a secret mistress, or did the wife have a secret lover? Could this be the key to solving Nicholas Arrington's brutal murder? Part 2. Princess Emily and the Secret Model. The detectives decided to check both spouses' romantic affairs. They started with the wife. Emily, a model beautiful girl, grew up in a well-off family. Her father was military. The family constantly moved with him from place to place. They lived in Germany for a long time, then moved to Springfield. That's how the most beautiful girl in the neighborhood appeared in the house on Main Street. Many guys courted her, but to no avail. People whispered around, "The princess is waiting for her prince." And one day he appeared. After her first year, the charming student became a model and did photo shoots. That's where Nicholas Arrington, artist and photographer, spotted her. He instantly lost his head, photographed Emily everywhere, on the runway, on the street, and promised, "I'll make you famous. Your photos will be in New York." They got married, and the girl always looked happy. The detectives figured she probably wasn't cheating on her husband, but who was moaning in passion in the apartment then? They started reviewing the archive of photographs and paintings by the murdered photo artist, and there they found the answer. The detectives learned that artist Nicholas Arrington was most passionate about nude models. The operatives found a series of fresh drawings of a girl. And it wasn't the artist's wife. Who was this? Could it be her that Arrington drew for the last 6 months on Thursdays while his wife sat for hours in the library? Likely, each session ended in passionate embraces. But who was this young model, and was she connected to the murder? The detectives showed the portrait to other artists. No one knew the girl. They decided to stake out the cemetery.
They hoped the girl would come to her lover's grave. And the girl came, all in black, with flowers, sad, young, and pregnant. The model was expecting. The detectives approached her, identified themselves, and took her to the station for questioning.
The girl's name was Inga Roker. She was 18 and she really posed for the artist, first clothed, then nude. Nicholas Arrington promised her portrait would be in New York. Inga didn't understand how she ended up in bed with him. Could the pregnant mistress have forced Nicholas to leave his wife? Was she involved in the artist's murder? And at that moment, Inga disappeared. According to relatives, she went to the store in the morning and didn't return. They checked hospitals, morgues, even maternity wards. She was nowhere. What if she knew the killer and he got to her? A week of agonizing waiting passed. The detectives had bad feelings. The girl was probably not alive. But Inga was found.
Part 3. The Family Cabin and the Terrible Secret of the Father. During the search for the missing girl, one operative decided to check the family cabin of Inga Roker's family. True, the family head claimed his daughter never went there. The detective approached the little house. Nothing suspicious. He looked through the windows. Normal setup. Mirror on the wall. But what was that strange in it? In the corner of the mirror, feet were reflected. They broke down the door and found the missing Inga in horrific condition. She lay on the floor, tied with a gag in her mouth. She hadn't eaten or drunk for a week, lying on the cold floor. Who staged such a terrible execution? Who calmly waited for the girl to die of dehydration? And Inga shocked the detectives with her confession. It was Dad, her own father.
Inga's father was a big boss, used to everyone obeying him, demanded it at home too. Inga had no friends. Right after community college, she hurried home so Dad wouldn't get mad. But one day on the street, someone called to Inga, "Miss," and the camera shutter clicked. A young stranger said, "I couldn't miss such beauty." It was photo artist Nicholas Arrington. He knew girls love with their ears and used it skillfully. So Inga couldn't resist and fell for the gallant suitor. She hid it from her strict father. But soon the father suspected his daughter had a boyfriend, though Inga somehow miraculously convinced him she met the artist just once and he only photographed her. Then Nicholas Arrington was killed. Inga suffered greatly, cried, decided to go to the cemetery. That's where the operatives met her.
Inga's father learned she was questioned by detectives and panicked. Then in the morning drove her to the cabin, tied her up, gagged her, and with the words, "This will be better," left. He wanted her to die on her own. The detectives were stunned. The father sentenced his own daughter. Wasn't he the one who killed the artist? Maybe he didn't want his daughter to have a child from Arrington. But Inga confessed Dad feared the truth would come out, since the child wasn't the artist's. It turned out the authoritarian father had been abusing his own daughter for a year while his wife was at work, and now he got scared it would all come out and decided to kill his own daughter. Inga's father was taken on by a separate team of investigators. They also checked him for involvement in the attack on artist Arrington, but Roker had an alibi. Part 4. Golden Girl, Tina. The detectives started over, and soon another woman came into focus. One detective went to Emily, the artist's widow, needed to clarify some details, and caught an interesting scene. Emily with some unfamiliar girl sitting at a table full of food, celebrating something. Emily was wary of the operative, but her friend, on the contrary, smilingly came over to introduce herself. The detective noticed a photo of the victim with a black ribbon on the bookshelf, asked, "Remembering Nicholas?" And the guest burst out laughing, and with the words, "Not at all? Good riddance to that goat," grabbed a knife and stabbed the photo portrait of murdered Nicholas Arrington. Emily jumped up, shouted at her, "What are you, crazy?" and started making excuses to the detective.
But the operative noted this strange outburst, told his colleagues. They decided to take a closer look at the widow's friend. Who was she, and why did she hate the artist so much? Soon they found out. It was Tina Lawrence, the so-called Golden Girl. Her father was director of one of the big chain stores. Mother held a high government position. Tina wanted for nothing since childhood, head to toe in expensive clothes and jewelry. She considered herself an attractive person, loved male attention. For example, once she brought 3 guys to a restaurant at her expense, fed and watered them. Getting rowdy, Tina wanted to dance and ordered her suitors to make all the patrons dance. The idea ended in a fight. As a result, the whole merry company was taken by police for 15 days. Tina's mother was furious and decided to settle her daughter down, marry her off. She did. The husband was 20 years older than Tina.
Ugly, serious, but well off, and the girl changed instantly. The wildlife stopped. But what did she have against Emily's husband, Nicholas Arrington? They got nothing from Tina. Then they put the girl under surveillance and immediately noticed someone else watching her. Some unpleasant guy was constantly following Tina. What did he want? The operatives cornered the stranger in an alley, showed their badges, and the tail panicked and confessed he was following Tina Lawrence on her husband's orders. So married Tina was still living wildly in secret from her husband? Maybe artist Arrington was her lover too. The detectives decided to look for answers in the murdered man's numerous photos, but found nothing there. However, in one of the cameras they found an undeveloped roll. They developed it in the lab. On murdered Nicholas Arrington's last roll was a nude threesome. It was Tina Lawrence, the artist's wife, Emily, and some guy between them. The photo showed they were tense. Notice they were being photographed. Was this the reason for the murder? Part 5. Emily's interrogation and disclosure of the scheme. The detectives started interrogating both friends, but the girls acted brazenly. They pretended to be law experts, especially Emily Arrington tried hard. They decided to put both in a holding cell and plant their female agent with them. But the law school students knew this trick and deliberately only talked about the weather. What to do? They separated them and assigned each the most experienced interrogator. Emily got Detective Natalie Shepard. She was tasked with finding out if the wife was involved in her husband's murder. Detective Shepard realized Emily Arrington was a brazen, cunning, calculating woman, only pretending to be a lamb. On the first interrogation, Emily acted maximally arrogant. She started insulting Detective Natalie Shepard, saying she had no waist and crooked legs. Natalie Shepard sat silently at first, indifferently listening to the insults and not reacting at all. Then she said, "Now to business," and began the interrogation, skillfully using logic, evidence, and facts. And Emily cracked, told everything as if in confession. The Arringtons weren't in love with each other for long. Nicholas, a passionate man, would ignite with desire for any beautiful model. Emily once came home early and heard passionate sighs in the bedroom. She didn't make a scene, decided to get revenge and take lovers herself. Didn't have to look long. Nicholas imprudently met his mistress Inga in their own apartment. Emily skillfully hid her affairs. She had 4 bedmates right away, barely kept up running between them. But Emily got bored quickly. Her lustful friend Tina was also bored with her new serious husband, so suggested secret joint love parties with a man. They chose young electrician Jerry Greenman and started meeting as a threesome in a country house they rented specifically for this. The slutty friends overlooked one thing. The well-off husband soon suspected Tina. The jealous man decided to entrust the investigation to an interested person, Emily's husband, artist Arrington. He said for him to find out everything, but he'd punish personally. Tina's husband had criminal connections and once was involved in a murder case, but got off then. Nicholas Arrington gladly accepted the offer. Plus, Tina's husband promised good pay for proof of infidelity. The photo artist tracked his wife, sneaked up to the secret house, and took a shot through the window. The love threesome noticed him. Tina panicked, but Emily immediately started looking for a way out and found it. She scared her lover, Jerry Greenman, said Tina's husband would brutally kill him first, then deal with them. So Nicholas Arrington couldn't tell him everything and show the photos, had to kill him.
Emily convinced Jerry he'd stay out of suspicion and assured him they'd be together after the murder. They organized the murder spontaneously in one day. Nicholas Arrington didn't even develop the fatal role. Emily came home, had a fight with her husband, Nicholas, there. Emily calmed him, asked to give them time to cool off. Nicholas agreed and went to sleep. Meanwhile, Emily unlocked the apartment door and went to the bathroom. While she lay in the bath, her lover, Jerry Greenman, entered the open apartment and pounced on Emily's sleeping husband. He tried to escape, reached the kitchen, but killer Jerry caught him there too. When all was quiet, Emily slipped out of the bath, carefully wiped Jerry Greenman's fingerprints from the door handle, his shoe prints from the bloody floor, and ran into the hallway, pretending horror and panic, confident the crime would never be solved. But experienced Detective Shepard outplayed the overconfident criminal.
Part 6. The finale of the case and Inga's fate. The case became sensational. No one expected a girl from a good family, law school honors student, to organize a murder. Emily was sentenced to 8 years for incitement, and her lover Jerry, as the perpetrator, got 12 years. They didn't charge her friend Tina. Her only sin was cheating on her husband. And the model Inga, passionately loving the murdered photographer Nicholas Arrington, gave birth to a baby and loved him despite who the father was. Dear listener, thank you for your time. Next time, we'll tell you a story about a killer who thought he was a genius no one could ever catch, who took the lives of those close to him in the hope of a rich, beautiful life. Subscribe so you don't lose us.